Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Tazeen, your mentor and course director at Study MRCPI, and we are here with another YouTube series for all of you, for all MRCPI OSCE aspirants who are preparing for their MRCPI OSCEs. And in this, we are going to discuss another structured discussion with a very experienced examiner. So you will get an idea that how you have to approach structured discussions in the exam. If you have not subscribed the YouTube channel of Study Medic, subscribe now and just click on the bell icon so that you can stay updated with the YouTube series. The message for all of you is that success is never a shortcut. The elevator to success is out of order. So you have to use the staircase. What that mean is that you have to put your efforts, you have to keep your dedication and passion alive, and no one can stop you from success. With this, we are going to start this structured discussion, and I will be the candidate, and I have with me examiner Dr. Soumya, who will be examiner in this structured discussion. Hello, Dr. Soumya.
Hi, Tazeen. Hello.
So I will be displaying the candidate instructions, and we shall start the case.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Tazeen, one of the exam going candidates. I have read the instructions and I am ready for structured discussion.
Okay. Could you please tell me what additional information you would want to gather from her?
So in this particular case, the additional information which we need to get from this case is regarding both the partners, as this patient has presented with irregular cycle as well as she is keen to conceive. So I will inquire the age of both partners in this woman, height to weight, BMI of both partners, duration of relationship, any previous pregnancies and what was the outcome of those pregnancies, any previous investigations or previous fertility workup if it has been carried out, any previous treatments if they have used, and what was the outcome or effect of those treatments, any medical concern, any previous surgeries, any allergies. Then from both the partners, I will inquire in a very sensitive way after signposting about sexual history, any sexually shared infections, pelvic inflammatory disease, and then from the female patron, I will inquire about her menstrual cycle, regularity of menstrual cycle, flow of menstrual cycle, any weight gain in the past, any excessive hair growth or hirsutism, or any signs of or symptoms of acne to rule out hyperandrogenemia, any previous contraception if they have used, and previous obstetric history as well.
Okay, so she's having irregular cycles from last 4-5 years, and the flow is also very less. It's mostly like an oligomenorrhea. Last menstrual period was like 1 month before, and she's trying to conceive for last 2 years. And as well, otherwise she is medically fit and no other allergies. So you have been provided with the investigations. Familiarize yourself with that and give me the interpretation of what it does.
All right. Thank you so much for the information you provided and the investigations. First of all, I will check the name and hospital registration number of the patient to ensure identity of the patient, that these test results belong to her. So I will discuss the investigations, as these are all the investigations of the female partner. So I will discuss with her only these investigation results, and she can share with her partner. Without her consent, these test results should not be disclosed to her male partner as well. So the first thing is the scan, which is showing the peripheral distribution of follicles, which indicates that this can be a case of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Then the scan also shows two cavities, so which can be septate or arcuate uterus. However, further evaluation may be needed. The FSH level is normal. However, the LH is raised, and progesterone on 21 day is also showing anovulatory cycles. The hysterosalpingography imaging is also there, which is showing the bilateral spillage of the dye. It means that the tubes are patent. However, it is also showing two cavities, which can be bicornuate uterus or that can be septate uterus, and further evaluation might be needed in this particular case.
Okay, so now you have the history and the investigation. What's your ongoing plan for her?
In this patient, the ongoing plan, we will keep three aspects in mind, that her polycystic ovarian syndrome, then her uterine anomaly, and her wishes to conceive. So regarding the polycystic ovaries, I will advise her, first of all, lifestyle advice, that she should reduce weight if BMI is towards higher side, and for that she should be connected with dietitian and exercise specialist. All other general lifestyle should be optimized. Smoking, if it is there, it should be stopped, and she should be counseled that she should have at least one cycle in 3 months, so that endometrial hyperplasia is not there. For that, she can be given withdrawal bleeding as well. Ovulation can be induced in this patient with ovulation inducing agents like letrozole, clomiphene citrate, and then we can go for gonadotrophins, laparoscopic ovarian drilling, in vitro fertilization, and can be in a stepwise way. And written information should be provided to the patient. Regarding her uterine anomaly, she should be evaluated further. We can go for 3D scan and MRI to know the extent of the septum, and depending upon that, we will decide that whether it needs any further treatment or not. If she has conceived previously and that was a term pregnancy, then further treatment might not be needed. Her wishes to conceive, the both the partners, they should be counseled, and they should be met in the consultation, and it should be discussed with them that once this is optimized, then male partner investigations might be needed, and then this can be discussed with the woman, that how they have to embark on pregnancy.
Okay. So let's talk about this uterine anomalies. What is the implication of if you see arcade versus septate, which is better and which one has got more implications for the reproductive potential?
All right. Septate uterus can be associated, can be asymptomatic, and it can be associated with miscarriages, first and second trimester miscarriages that can be preterm labor. So it can be associated with obstetric implications. However, arcuate uterus, it is having less association with the reproductive outcomes, and if it is there, that can be associated with second trimester miscarriages.
Okay, so what do you do when you get this uterine anomalies as an incidental finding during a fertility workup, as in this case, or if you discover the same during a cesarean section, for example, for doing for a breech? So, how your management differs for that?
Some references, basically, they don't suggest any immediate treatment. First, the septum, if it is incidental finding on the scan, it should be evaluated further with 3D scan or MRI to know the extent of the septum. And if it is encountered during cesarean section, so if it is a term pregnancy, then again it needs no intervention, as the term pregnancy have been achieved. And if, however, it is associated with poor obstetric outcomes, then hysteroscopic guided removal of the septum can be carried out.
Okay, so what's your opinion for uterine septum surgery? And if you think it should be done, what is the ideal time?
The surgery should be done in definitely in the non-pregnant phase, and not immediately after cesarean section. And once the surgery is carried out, then the patient should be given some time so that the healing is there, and then she should be advised for pregnancy.
Okay, fine. So, what would you give me a plan? What if this woman becomes pregnant? So, how would you follow up her?
If this woman gets pregnant, so first of all, she should be advised that she should receive appropriate antenatal care. As she is a known case of polycystic ovarian syndrome, then what we actually do is that she is more at the risk of polycystic ovarian disease. She is more at the risk of polycystic ovarian disease and pregnancy-induced hypertension. So this should be taken care. If she has received ovulation induction, then there can be risk of ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. So that should be taken care in this woman. And then her pregnancy care should be in the consultant-led clinic, and separate uterus discussion should be made with the woman. And then if there is no pregnancy complication, then it needs no further treatment.
Okay, because you mentioned clomiphene citrate, can you tell me about details about clomiphene citrate?
Clomiphene citrate is basically an ovulation induction agent, which is acting centrally, and there is it basically alters the feedback mechanism. So there would be raised follicle stimulating hormone that leads to ovulation. However, it can be associated with multiple pregnancies. There are some GI upset which can be associated with that, so that should be taken care.
Okay, fine. Thank you. I think that finishes my questions.
All right. Thank you so
I think
much.
I've done within the time itself, Tazeen. So only thing which I want to say is probably you forgot to mention the last menstrual period. When you came to the menstrual cycles, I thought you would be mentioning, and because you immediately moved to the next. Otherwise, I think you have done. I like the way you interpreted the images and the differential diagnosis of the uterine anomalies. I think that was really good. And yes, I think most of the things which you mentioned, MDT you mentioned, and the management plan was also good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So this is a case of polycystic ovarian syndrome, which I will quickly interpret for all of you. That the first thing is additional information which might be needed. So regarding the additional information, we should be knowing that age of both partners, their BMI, duration of relationship, previous pregnancies, previous investigations, fertility treatments if they have received, and if there is any outcome of that fertility treatment, or what was the effect of that, medical history, surgical history, sexual history, and sexually shared infections always after signposting, lifestyle factors, smoking, alcohol, recreational drugs, female partner, her menstrual cycle, when was the last menstrual period, her regularity of the cycle, flow of the cycle, signs of hyperandrogenism like hirsutism, acne, alopecia, weight changes, contraceptive history, and obstetric history. All they are very, very important in this woman. Regarding the interpretation of investigations, all the investigations which are provided to you, you have to first confirm the name and registration number of the woman to ensure safety, and then you have to interpret one by one. Even if the vitals are mentioned, you have to describe that. So the scan, it is showing peripheral distribution of the follicles and also the two cavities. Hormones are showing FSH normal, raised LH, and progesterone and ovulatory status, and then hysterosalpingography. Then regarding the ongoing management of this woman, keep all the perspectives in mind that she is a case of polycystic ovarian syndrome. So lifestyle advices, optimization of general health, then how we have to take up in a stepwise way the management of polycystic ovarian syndrome. Then regarding her septum, which is incidental finding, what can be the woman's concern, that if some incidental finding is there, what can be the concerns, how they should be addressed, whether this needs any further treatment or not. And regarding her wishes to conceive, as both the partners, they are keen to conceive, so fertility consultations, they should be in presence of both partners, and if one partner is present in fertility consultation, then only the investigation of that partner should be discussed with the, and without consent the other investigations should not be shared. And then you can plan further management. So there are certain you can say that general questions, that why LH is raised, and if some incidental findings about the uterine anomalies are there, how they can be addressed. So we have to take care that if why LH is raised, basically that is increased estrogen, which is so abnormal feedback mechanism is there, that is leading to increased risk of gonadotrophin releasing gonadotrophin releasing hormones, so relative increase in LH to FSH ratio. The differences of implications can be that it can be septate from asymptomatic to frequent obstetric complications, recurrent first and second trimester losses, preterm labor and malpresentation, and arcuate can be associated with less reproductive difficulties, but if it is there, that can be second trimester losses. Incidental finding, if it is not there, no complications are there, so immediate treatment is not recommended, so further evaluation followed by the treatment. If this patient gets pregnant, so few things should be kept in mind, that there can be more risk of miscarriage. She should be monitored for gestational diabetes and pregnancy induced hypertension, keeping in mind her increased BMI. If she has received ovulation induction, ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome can be there, multiple pregnancies, so accordingly she can be a high risk pregnancy that should end up in consultant led care. Separate uterus, we can measure the serial cervical length, and if needed, progesterone supplements can be given to the woman. Then about the mechanism of action of clomiphene citrate, it is anti-estrogen. Negative feedback is altered, so it results in more FSH, and it is started on day 3 of the menstrual cycle, given for 5 days. Starting dose is 50 milligrams, can be increased up to 150 milligrams, and ultrasound monitoring is carried out to see that how is the follicular growth, so that we can see that uh, mm, uh, whether this is effective or not, and dominant follicle is there. It can result in multiple pregnancies, so that's also important, that ultrasound monitoring is important. It can be associated with general headache, nausea, vomiting, and other GI upset, and ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, and multiple pregnancy can be on a broader aspect. So this was all about polycystic ovarian syndrome with structured discussion, and I hope this will help you in your exam. Thank you so much, Dr. Soumya.
Thank you. Thank you.